What is going on, All-Terrain Nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, you know the drill. It does not matter what you drive. This is your All-Terrain Nation, and I'm your host, David Boyd. And today is, you guys know what day it is. Let me, I got to fix my audio, guys. It's been crazy tonight, so pardon me here. I've only got like 15 links up, but what is going on, man? It's Happy Mondays. It's Bronco Mondays, and you guys love Bronco Mondays, so thank you for all joining along. So tonight we've got special guests. We've got the GT. All right, Corey, I'm going to unmute you before I bring you in because I'm going to butcher it's Garage Talk, but it's GT Garage Talk on YouTube, correct?
Correct. Everything's GT Garage Talk. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, GT Garage Talk.
Well, there you go. So I brought the guys in. There you go. Hopefully you guys can see them. Let me know in the comments what's going on, if you can hear everything, what is going on. But guys, welcome to the show for one thing.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
I've stumbled across you guys' channel. Oh, it's been a minute. And I've just kind of watched things, and I reached out to Corey a few weeks ago and was like, hey, Corey, could you look at the camera a little bit? And it just poking at him a little bit, and then just from us talking, I was like, oh, I gotta have Corey on the show. And Matt. So it's Corey and Matt, and I'm gonna stumble the way I've got this set up. I'm gonna stumble across y'all and probably screw things up. But welcome to the show, guys.
It has been just fun connecting with you, and we're glad. So, yes, I'm Corey. That's Matt.
I like that they're in the same room pointing at each other.
Yeah, he's right there. Yeah. I'm right here.
I can photobomb back here.
Right.
Oh, I see a hand.
There we go.
Well,
but, I'm very excited to talk all things Bronco. You can see Matt came prepared with his Team Bronco shirt.
I see
Team
that,
Bronco.
man. Heck yeah. What you got?
GTgarage.com. You can get one yourself.
Yeah.
Always sell. I like that. You know you're professionals when it's all you got to sell the gear. You got to sell the merch, man.
I should have worn my Team Wrangler shirt. I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh, not on Bronco night.
I'm repping my alma mater today. So
well, I'm repping the Simpsons. So, but guys, if you haven't yet, either now open up a new window in your page. Don't leave the channel, by the way, but open up and we'll post their link to their site. I'm gonna have you guys, if one of you are in the chat, to post your link because, like I was telling them privately, I was having a hard time grabbing their link. But go follow these guys. They've got a bunch of Bronco content coming. I know this is what you guys call Bronco Week, correct?
Yes. So we just got back from a Ford event out in Austin, Texas at their Off-Rodeo complex. So there are 4 of them across the nation, and Texas was one of the first, if not the first, to open. And they invited a bunch of media out there, and we got enough content that I came back and I said, we're doing a whole week of it. So
nice.
Yes, this is Bronco Week here at GT Garage Talk. And this is how we're kicking it off with you.
Well, we appreciate that. And guys, also, if you're podcast fans, they have a podcast. And where do you find your podcast at?
It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on Google, anything and everything. Like I said, it's all GT Garage Talk. There are links on our website, which is gtgaragetalk.com. We keep it super simple.
Well, we're guys. We have to keep things super simple, correct?
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, I hopefully my audience goes over and checks your channels out. But first off, I want to just talk to you guys because it's hard to I have owners of Broncos and stuff jump on these shows, but it's when you get to actually talk to journalists and stuff, it's a lot of fun because for one, there's things I want to know that you guys know, and obviously I know, guys, they're recording this, by the way, on their end too, so who knows where that goes. But Matt, is that you in the comments there asking about the shirt?
I'm not sure. I did post a link to our website and
Okay.
to our YouTube page, so
Nice.
should be in there.
Okay. I was thinking because there was some. They have their own my audience. They have their own chat going on. Like they'll listen to me, but I think it's more about them just connecting in these chats and having a good time.
Party in the chat.
Nice.
But so guys, take some time. What is your backgrounds? Corey, we'll start with you. Where did you come from? What's going on? Why should these people know about you, sir?
So I fell in love with cars when I was 10 years old. We moved north to East Texas from the Houston area, and we were in an apartment complex, and the people above us had a 96, 97. I wish I could tell you exactly which year model it was, but I was at the beginning stages of my love for Camaros at that point in time. and I just fell in love. I researched everything about it, and just over the years, I couldn't get enough of cars. I started researching everything I could. Fell in love. I'm a GM fanboy, but
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
my eyes are being opened through Garage Talk at just what else there is out in the world. The more stuff I get to drive, and yeah, I've been into cars for 20 years, and we started GT Garage Talk at the beginning of 2020. Little did we know how crazy that year was going to go for the entire world, much less us. And I went full time with this a few months ago, and we're just cranking out the content now. We have on our YouTube channel, we do video reviews of all kinds of rigs. We've had a Lamborghini Diablo, we've had a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, we off-roaded in a Subaru Outback, like all kinds of fun stuff over on our channel, and we're just loving life.
Well, I mean, clearly you're in Texas, so that's just for one. That's one of my favorite states to be in. So,
Absolutely.
I'm kind of jealous of that. I mean, we're here in Nashville, so I have a little bit of Texas light with some of the music and stuff. But Texas is just such a vast state, and I really really like it. I've been to Dallas many times, and I just love that area. And I'm excited to meet you guys because we'll be at an event together. Hopefully this October, I think, coming up.
First weekend in October. I cannot wait for it. I was obviously in that area. It's in the Austin area, and it just got me more and more pumped for that event. And there's going to be a lot of off-road content coming from us, and sounds like from you from that event as well.
Well, hopefully. We were talking privately. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get all this content, but I'm going to love trying anyways. I'm going to go home tired. I can tell you that. So Matt, what is your background a little bit?
So my background, my passion for cars and things started actually with my dad. He had several air-cooled Volkswagens growing up.
Oh,
and
nice.
I got bit by the bug.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, literally. So my first car was a 71 Super Beetle that my dad and I rebuilt basically from the ground up. And then I totaled it about 4 years later.
Oops.
Womp womp.
I've had a half a dozen different bugs, but my dad was always a GM truck guy, had Chevy trucks and GMC trucks. And for whatever reason, I went the other direction, and I had Ford trucks. I had a 94 F-150 four-wheel drive. Loved that truck. My most recent truck was an '08 F-150 crew cab 4x4. And for whatever reason, I ended up a Ford guy, and I have since converted my dad. But I took my passion of vehicles and went to school for it. I know, yeah, putting up with me. Ended up with some ASC certifications and some experience in the trucking, over-the-road trucking and oil field trucking, and now I'm working for a local school district here, turning wrenches on school buses. So,
Nice. Well, it's hard to do. My dad was hardcore GM, when I was younger, I'm going to date myself a little bit, is when the 97 F-150s came out, just a completely new body style, just changed trucks forever. And I brought one of those home, and my dad looked at me like, I don't know that you can park here anymore. He was like serious about it. I let him drive it, and he was after driving. He's like, okay, but I'm not buying one. I was like, hell, well, as long as you don't kick me out of the house at the time, we're good on that one.
Right? As long as I don't have to sleep in it, then you're in good shape. Right?
Exactly. But so Corey, I think you've both done a little bit of writing, correct?
Yes. So we've got our own blog at gtgaragetalk.com. But here lately, my side gig at vehiclehistory.com has been taking a lot of my writing resources away from me. So I really need to get more diligent about writing articles for myself.
Right.
But yes, I write for vehiclehistory.com. I research used rigs and help people find the right rig for them in that arena.
Well, that must be fun.
It is, but it's also very time consuming because it is a deep dive into, I've been diving into 2017 and 2018 year model vehicles and the history of them up to that point. So now, any vehicle I've written about, I see one on the road and I'm already like, oh, that's a 97 Toyota RAV4 because blah, blah, blah. And yeah.
Suddenly you become Rain Man of that model, right?
Yes, and useless knowledge I will not be able to get rid of now.
Well, of course, man. I have 47 years of that, so I totally understand that. But so you guys started Garage Talk, and you said it was just a little bit over a year ago. But how did you two come together? I mean, what's the connection?
We've been friends for
20 plus years.
a long time,
Which does not seem right to say.
Ended up meeting each other at church and hit it off. We're both gearheads. We're both car people, and hours upon hours upon hours of conversation about any and everything that had to do with vehicles. And
right.
Yeah, like our bio says, anytime we get together, the conversation always turns to cars. And as are with most things, we're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. You know, he's Team Bronco, I'm Team Jeep. He's Ford, I'm Chevy. You know, there's just a lot of fun to be had poking fun at one another. And I said, you know, hey, why don't we share this with the rest of the world?
Right. Well, I'm looking at your website right now. I've got it up on screen. So if people want to see, obviously you guys can see there, you can go right from their website into all their YouTube stuff. And it looks like, as well as your, you got, I mean, obviously you got the gear, you got to sell the gear, but all your activities, your blog, your podcast and stuff. So guys, go over to gtgaragetalk.com and check them out, man. Just check this stuff out. But so tonight, like, this is what I do on Mondays. What I do on Mondays is exclusively Bronco talk. Like, I have a large Bronco audience, and I appreciate every person that jumps in on these things. And guys, remember, smash the like button. You know, it just helps other people find the channel, so I greatly appreciate that. But so you guys got to spend some time with the Off-Rodeo and in Texas there, and obviously one of you loved Broncos, and the other is just like, meh. But what was it like when you first get there? Are you like a kid just running around? Because they have that nice little, not store, I guess, of sorts, where they got the Bronco displayed in there. Yeah.
It's basic. So, yes, I absolutely was. And the irony, Matt's whole family was in the midst of getting sick. He was supposed to come along with me, and we were going to get dueling content out there. And unfortunately, his family took a turn for the worse. So, as far as health, and he made sure to take care of all of them.
Yeah, everybody's better now,
right.
So we're good. But
but I have an obligation to our gearheads out there, and went out there. We stayed in a trailer the night before, but yes, went out there. And even though I am Team Jeep through and through, I was a kid in a candy store. You get there. I was driving my wife's Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk. I always want to do that ever since we drove the Trackhawk. But I was in my wife's Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk and parked right next to a Bronco Sport Badlands in the parking lot. And I said, this is going to be a fun day.
Nice.
And you get out there, you go up to base camp, and just the Bronco love that they have poured into this place. If you go and watch our video tomorrow, you'll see clips of it. But there are Bucking Bronco logos everywhere. The benches that they have outside are old classic Bronco tailgates. You go inside, and there's a Bronco sitting inside there for you to check out. There's a gift shop. There's a meeting room. There's all kinds of stuff. There's a map where you can put a pin from where you came from.
Oh, that's fun.
Just see where the Bronco family is thickest. Mm-hmm. And
where is that? Where is that, Corey? Where did you see more pins than anywhere?
Well, given that we were at the Texas location of the Off-Rodeo, it was really heavy around the Texas area, but there were pins all over the United States.
Yeah, because they've been allowing Bronco reservation holders to, since I think June sometime, start coming through there a little bit. And so, yeah, like I imagine I've seen on the forums and stuff, just people talking like crazy about going. So, so you get there, obviously. I know they sell Bronco gear. So, right. I mean, I know being a Jeep guy, you probably got all the latest and greatest Bronco gear, right?
The Bronco gear I came home with, I'm very proud of, actually, because they gave out stickers for trivia.
Yeah.
And I was able to add to my collection here. So I was able to show off, even though I am Team Jeep, my Bronco trivia amongst the other journalists out there. I didn't get all the stickers. I had some friends beat me to the punch on some questions, but yes, uh, that was the extent of the Bronco gear I brought home with me.
Right. So did they start you out with the sport?
Thankfully, no.
Oh, phew.
So they handed us lanyards with our names on them, and they had this agenda on the back that said base camp tour 30-minute, ground school 15 minutes, overview of the course 75 minutes, then Bronco Sport accessories, trail drive, and then lunch. And I was like, man, like I came out here for the big Bronco. Like I can find a Bronco Sport somewhere locally and take it to my off-road park and have some fun in it. And as I mentioned, my wife has a Cherokee Trailhawk, so like I wanted the anticipation to finally be fulfilled in the big Bronco. And we were out there. The event started at 10. We left we broke for lunch a little after 1, and all of it was spent in the big Bronco.
Wow.
Well, so what would obviously if you're a Jeep guy, you're a Wrangler guy, right?
Right.
So, just right off the bat, let's get into this. And I've got the Bronco, the Off-Rodeo website up right now, guys. Go over there if you're interested in that. But so let's kind of get before I ask more about the event itself. But let's get into A and B right now because I see a lot of people either they pull up in their Jeeps next to these things and they're like, oh, it's so massive or this and that. Or they pull up next to the Bronco Sport, the Wrangler guy does, and he's like, oh, that's what everybody's excited about. Like what is your impressions of what's happening versus Wrangler versus Bronco? What's going to happen here?
So, Matt, how many times have you been asked or somebody alluded to a Bronco Sport thinking it was the real thing?
Probably, well, the first few weeks, it was probably a dozen times a week
Right.
that someone would text me or call me or, I can't believe how ugly the new Broncos are. Or, I can't believe how small they are. I can't believe, and I had to take the time. I just about started saving the same text message and just
Copy-
sending it
copy
to the
paste.
next person because it just made more sense that way. But yeah, all the time.
And to that end, to your question about how we see this rolling out, I am part of a local 903 Jeep club here, and even the conversation in there, all the hardcore Jeep guys are bashing these Bronco Sports driving around town. I'm like, guys, you just don't know. You do not know. And I kind of feel like Ford shot themselves in the foot a little bit. COVID and the delays, the hardtop and everything have not helped because if the original rollout had happened, more of them would be on the road right now.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have to worry about it. But just because they've had such a delay getting the Bronco proper, as I call it, out on the road, there's just this vast misconception about what the Bronco is by the general public. Because
even the badging doesn't lend itself.
Right.
I know they want it to
similar.
be close, but you shouldn't. I mean, the front end, the eyes or the lights are a little further apart, but it's just too close.
Yeah, and it's fun and also infuriating to tell people no, like there's a better one coming. There's a better one coming.
Yeah.
Even when I was posting pictures of me driving the 2-door that I was in, people are like, now that's the one I want, not these little dinky ones I've been seeing around town. I'm like, that's what I've been telling you. Just be patient. They will be here.
Yeah,
So,
because I drove a Sport in January 1 is when I test drove a Sport. And I mean, they're okay. Don't get me wrong. If you want something, Ford's done a great job with that little thing because I see a lot of women that want an awesome adventure vehicle and they've bought into that as like that was the first thing they could get. And I even noticed today, speaking of that, like I know it is with Jeep. Like I see a lot of ladies driving Jeeps, like a lot of ladies. They want something big and just heavy duty and just like a kick-ass vehicle. And I see that with the Bronco Sports too. Just a lot of women love these things. And then there's probably guys like me are just like, well, that's not the real Bronco, right? And but they're excited and they want to go adventure and stuff. But as far as I think Ford kind of oversold that one, they had to, for one, with all the delays, they had to make this look cool. But please don't, guys, don't take that Bronco Sport to Moab and expect to do anything. Please don't do that.
I've actually been genuinely surprised with the Bronco Sport. I follow Vaughn Gittin Jr. on Facebook and YouTube and whatnot, and he had one in a part of his crew when they were over there for King of the Hammers. And he's got all the fun haver stuff and all that good stuff. But he had one of the Bronco Sports, and it was doing everything that the big boys were doing.
Yeah,
and doing it fairly well. I mean, so they are capable, but Ford has definitely aimed them towards, we'll get you to the trail head with the Sport. And then if you want to go on the trail itself, then, wait for the two-door, four-door.
Much like Subaru. And I think one of you loves Subaru, if I recall. But Subaru,
Yes.
I mean, Subaru has a bad habit of that as well. If they're overselling, Subaru was smart. They seen people lifting these things and are like, oh, let's jump on that bandwagon. Oh, it's rugged and tough. They're great vehicles, quality vehicles, but I've seen too many people out in the dunes or somewhere just with them buried. I'm like, it's not really made for that.
Yeah, definitely. I
got to know your tools.
I have an 07 Impreza right now, actually, and I have big plans for it. Hopefully, bigger than the typical 2 or 3 inch lift kits. So,
well, I and by watching your channel, I mean, we're always waiting for that review of that vehicle. So,
1,000 subs. We're getting close.
I was gonna say you better get those cameras fired up, man, because you guys are probably pretty close now. So Corey, so you get there, and obviously Ford probably gives you their little spiel about built for the wild and this and that, and I'm just thinking, well, maybe it should just be built, and then we'll worry about the wild part of it. But so which one did you test drive there?
So I've even gone on build and price just to make sure I got all the right specs of what I actually drove. So I gravitated. I love color, and the Velocity Blue just caught my eye and drew me to it. So there was a 2-door Wildtrak Bronco that had a soft top, which you can't currently order a soft top from Ford. And I knew I had to drive it. Like that was the one, because anytime I went build and price prior to this, I was always building Wildtraks. I wanted to go with the top of the line, or so I thought. This event has changed my mind, but the build and price on it, $56,030 for essentially the vehicle that I drove.
Yeah.
And the Wildtrak comes standard with the Sasquatch package, so it had the 35-inch tall tires on it, and all the off-road goodies, except for the disconnectable stay bar, as they call it, which is a Badlands exclusive, which is why I am exclusively building Badlands models on that one.
Well, so what was the 2-door is initially I did a reservation for the 2-door because I thought it resembles the most classic Bronco. And that's what I bought into. But then I was like, you know what? If I ever wanted to get rid of this thing, 2-door Wranglers are hard to get rid of. I know there's a guy for those. There's a person for those things. But ultimately, I could sell the 4-door 5 times before I'd sell the 2-door.
Yeah, and I said multiple times in my review that'll go up later this week on our channel that if I were buying it for me for a weekend fun toy to take over to our local park, Barnwell, I would buy the 2-door in a heartbeat. But there are so many compromises that you make living with a 2-door day in and day out. One, I've got a 3-year-old, and trying to get him in and out of the back seat would be a nightmare just from the fact that it's 2-door. Second off, the 2-door is a 4-seater only. Because of the wheel wells and just how that vehicle is built. The rear seat is a 50-50 split bench, and it's 2-person only. So if I were to buy one for my current life situation, it would definitely be a 4-door, as would be the case if I were shopping a JL Wrangler. I would just have to go 4-door, even though deep down inside, I want a 2-door.
Well, supposedly, I don't recall, because every time I see these things, I'm like a kid in a candy store, and my mental, like, hey, you need to focus on this, goes out the window because I'm just happy about a cool off-road truck. But I hear that the 2-door has more cargo room, though, than the Wranglers do.
So, to your point, yes, I was a kid in a candy store and I was not focused on cargo space or anything like that. And I just wanted to get in and drive. I had all the trails in front of me and just wanted to go.
Yeah.
So knock on wood, we have not signed any papers yet, but we have been told that one will be coming our way as a press vehicle
Nice.
to get the test. So we're anxiously looking forward to that day. And we will put it through our full standard test and check out cargo room. And as far as I am aware, it's going to be a 4-door. So, we'll try storing the doors in the back and all that good stuff.
Wah, wah. But no, I mean, but the 4-door is the one. Honestly, let's be honest. I think the 2-door Wrangler goes away within the next 10 years, and I think this 2-door Bronco goes away. I think for most people, look at 2-door cars. When I was growing up as a kid, you didn't want 4-doors. You wanted just strictly 2-doors. And now, Civics and stuff, they sell more 4-door Civics than they don't even care. I don't even know if the next generation even offers a 2-door anymore. But I'm amazed that 2-door, and then when you add a manual transmission on top of that, like it's almost kid proof. Like nobody's ever going to want to drive the thing. But
Yeah.
I'm very jealous of you guys getting one.
I think Matt and I would very much buy the unicorn that would never get resold at all because we both would want a manual 2-door. And to your point, yeah, they're just not as desired as a 4-door automatic.
Well, I want a manual 2-door Sasquatch, and at the moment, nary the twain shall meet. So,
well, they're testing them. They just, what I think I'm a little off on that one because they said, well, by 22, but there's been a lot of promises from Ford here lately, and I do like to poke fun of them, but it is like. You cannot go past the pandemic, which obviously for like you guys affected your channel. You're trying to launch a channel and get it going. Like for me, I just done the Chicago Auto Show and then the world stopped. Like I just got a taste of like, oh, cool. I'm going to start doing this more. And so, I get it with Ford. It's been like, man, we can't buy good luck right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
But to that end, they also are like riding on cloud 9 because people are just clamoring over their products. Matt is gaga over the Maverick.
Really?
And I think we'll see Mavericks before we see Broncos regularly on the road.
What is it about that Maverick?
It's the size, it's the capability, and I am anti EV as most anybody,
through and through. Yeah.
but the one I would have is the hybrid and the two-wheel drive hybrid at that, because it gets 40 miles to the gallon and it's a pickup. And it's got 4 doors, so I can put my kids in the back of it.
Yeah.
And it'll still pull 2,000 pounds, so I can still put the jet ski behind it and go to the lake. Like, it checks so many of the boxes for me, and it'll still get me back and forth to work. And I'm 2 miles from work, so it'll run on electric, primarily going back and forth to work even. So
right.
it just the size of it is right, the capability is right. I'm all about the Maverick, and it's a cheap truck, so it feels attainable. That's probably the biggest thing is that. The Broncos, even a base Sasquatch is $37,000, and that's $650, $700 a month to finance that. So a Maverick is an attainable new rig for me, and I'll just have to wait till they start selling 2-door manual transmission used Broncos somewhere. So
well, for a while, I mean, finding any Bronco, but even like a unicorn might be a used one for a while. And if you find it, it's in this world we live in, it's probably 3 times the price of what it cost somebody new.
I'm $48,000 with a $40,000 markup, so it's outrageous.
Oh yeah, no, I've done some videos on that stuff, and it's just ridiculous. But with the Bronco, they do have a hybrid coming. They've teased it a lot. They like showing that big, thick orange cable dangling out from under that thing, like it's very purpose driven what they're doing. And Ford, they know how to market something. I will say that the Bronco. When I watched that video, I'm assuming you guys watched it as well when it came out. Like I've been a Nissan guy. I've been a hardcore Nissan guy. Like the Xterra, I live and die for that little vehicle. It killed me that Nissan decided, it wasn't practical for them. So I was ripe for Ford's picking because I needed a fun vehicle. And when I watched that video, I've said this on the show many times. Like I watched it and then I replayed it and watched it like 4 more times, and I was like, holy cow! And I ran downstairs and I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, there's these. Have you seen these Broncos? And she's like, no, and she just blew me off. And really, 2 days later, I kept watching that thing, and finally, I went downstairs and grabbed my wallet. And she's like, "What are you doing?" She's, "Are you putting a reservation down on that Bronco?" And I was like, "No, yeah, is that okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't care." But yeah, so for me, like Ford's timing on this was great. That marketing, having Bryan Cranston on there, just that kind of solid grandfather like voice, just talking about preaching the heritage, and I was blown away about it. What about you guys?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I loved everything about that reveal video. I have watched it several times even since then, and everything about it, even down to the cinematography details were on point. Like Brandon, the guy that we were watching it with, who has a reservation for his Bronco, pointed out the fact that it was bucking going over those moguls.
Yeah.
Like, just the little things like that throughout that whole reveal were amazing. And I want one desperately because of it.
If you've ever seen or know anybody when they do those videos, like they have that 100-mile perimeter like roped off. Like they have military, they literally like military people sitting there watching that stuff. And you're right, and you can tell they filmed it one day because of the way it just, even you can only color correct so much on that stuff, and the light was getting dark. And I will say there's one scene where that thing's going up in between it's a valley of some sort, but you can see the drone. Like you see a shadow of the drone. I was like, ah. And as a guy that does that stuff, I'm always looking for the stupid stuff that nobody cares about,
Right.
But no, that video was amazing. So for me, I put the money down. Obviously, you guys, your passions probably lie elsewhere as far as, obviously Corey, you're, a Wrangler guy. But and then we wait and we're like, okay, the build price is going to come. The building price is going to come. And then, and then Ford teases, oh, we're going to do a Bronco manual transmission Sasquatch. And people are like on the forums going crazy. Like, oh, they're listening to us. And then we were supposed to do a building price by December, nothing. And I'm like, nothing. Just something's going wrong here. Like they've got so much pub about this. They want to get that out, man. Were you guys following that at all?
So yes, we were. One, because of what we do and trying to cover it for our audience, and two, having a friend that's in the thick of it as well. So our friend Brandon, he watched the reveal with us and put his deposit down that night. And so we're staying in contact with all the communications he gets from Ford. We're trying to stay on top of it as much as we can. The whole news came out last week while I was at the event about the hardtop recall and how they're basically done with hardtops for this year.
Yeah.
And, the hardcore Jeep guy in me is like, well, I can buy a Gecko green Wrangler right now with a matching Gecko green hardtop, and it'll have the Sunrider flip part for the front seats, and I'm good to go, and I'm driving it next week. But here you are still waiting for your Bronco. So,
well, Corey, did you get to check any of the hardtops out that were at the event?
So again, that was one of those things where I was a kid in a candy store. I was drawn to that Velocity Blue one that did have a soft top. I poked around. I rode in a four-door with a hard top with one of the instructors during the part that they called the Faver section, where they put to the metal and just tried to scare the ever-loving out of us.
Right.
Going around a quote-unquote high-speed course, which high speed in a Bronco off-road, while the speedometer is not climbing very high, feels like it is. So, especially when you're not in control. And there was so much stuff rattling there that I couldn't really give you an opinion on what the hardtop was doing.
Yeah.
Because they did not hold back.
I will say from having a Gladiator and doing some time in these things, definitely Ford's approach the hardtop a little different versus Jeep. Jeep seems, and I think they're trying to save weight. The world we live in now, you need so much weight savings for miles per gallon. It's crazy. And like I will grab my hardtop off my Jeep, and you can just tell it's a little thicker. It's different. It's a different resin or whatever they're using than what Jeep is using. And I mean, they'll get it right. There's too much money at stake for this and honestly too much bad press at stake now for them not. But I will say when I rode in the hardtops, you could hear wind coming in it a little bit. And of course, I was at the Celebration East, and those weren't final production ready vehicles, so I kind of give them some slack about it. But what is your impression of the seat time that you were able to do, and you've done Wrangler? The wind, I will say the glass in front is almost identical size. Like, it does feel very Wrangler when you hop in at first.
No. So yes, in that it's very boxy, it's very upright and all that, but the view out the hood is incredibly different because
yeah.
it's so square jawed, and you see those trail sights out in front of you, and everything goes out the window when you start moving in that thing, because it does it's got that independent front suspension, so it rides a little bit differently. And I I I tread lightly here. So on the spectrum of Team Jeep, Team Bronco, I have moved ever so slightly more towards the center than I was before.
He's coming to the dark side.
I'll say it. Competition is great for everyone involved. And just look at what Jeep has done since the day of the Bronco reveal.
Yeah.
We got the 392. We've got the Rubicon Extreme with 35-inch tall tires and the 100-to-1 crawl ratio. We're getting all kinds of crazy stuff from Jeep now that we may not have gotten if they didn't have Ford pushing them to be better and do more. So the Bronco is a incredibly capable vehicle, and I was thoroughly impressed with my seat time and time behind the wheel in one, and time on the passenger side riding through the fun haver section. Anyone who buys one will be very, very impressed with it. There are compromises that are made for ride quality, again, that independent front suspension and things of that nature. Our good friends over at Brake Check Show mentioned that they're almost newbie proof in that everything is electronic in it. It's electronically selectable, 4 high, 4 low, and all that. You've got electronically actuated lockers front and rear, and the stay bar, and all that stuff. And depending on what GOAT mode you're in, it's like presets for it. So it does everything for you to prepare you for the terrain that you see in front of you. And it just makes it that much easier to hop in it and go.
Yeah, and of course you can put these in just manual modes and just tinker with yourself. But no, that's the cool thing about some of the modern tech that they're putting in these is it is newbie proof. It's letting somebody go out there and just get a feel for these vehicles. The only thing that bothers me with that is you start adding lockers into that with kind of people who aren't familiar with what lockers actually do, and especially knowing you can engage the front locker in this without the rear engaged. And that's where in the years I've off-roaded, you add front lockers to the thing, and that's where I've always seen people who didn't know what they were doing mess up. But I think most people who don't know what they're doing, they're going to use the GOAT modes.
Right. Probably no one is going to hit those hero buttons up top, because they're going to see, depending on what GOAT mode they put that dial in, they're going to light up and come on themselves. So, yeah, I said in my video that we'll release tomorrow that we've had several comments on, we did a ride along at the Chicago Auto Show, and people in the comments were like, oh, great, all these electronic gadgets are going to have all these inexperienced people out on the trails doing stuff that they shouldn't. And what Ford is doing to combat that is they are offering the Off-Rodeo experience to Bronco Sport Badlands and First Edition buyers and all Bronco proper buyers.
Yeah.
And it's a 10-hour, one-day, all-in immersive experience that they teach you the proper techniques and the right driving line. and they teach you not to use the electronics as a crutch. They're more as a, okay, this is when you would use it and how you use it and why you use it. And it's really your skill and technical ability above all else that you need to rely on. And that's what I really liked, and really came in handy for me because I kind of joke about some of the cameras that they offer on there. The mirrors stay put whether the doors are on or off,
Right.
and that allows 360 views and all these different camera angles. I left it on the camera angle where you can see the front two tires the entire time. And there were multiple times where that came in handy, allowing me to dodge a sharp rock or something that could have ended my day right then and there. And to that end, I say bring on the technology in that respect.
Would you think that Jeep's going to answer just the mirrors alone? They have to answer that, right?
I am very curious to see what they do.
I say within the next 2 years they'll have something out that'll be comparable.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's a mirror kit with the half doors or something like that, where you've got the cameras there to help with the trail sights and all that stuff. It made too much sense out there. I do not condone wheeling by yourself, especially in highly technical stuff. I always have a spotter with you to help guide you. But like I said, those cameras came in handy when we were in a convoy, follow the leader type format, and just avoiding day ender type instances where you're really just driving around. You wouldn't need a spotter for that particular instance, but there's like a sharp tree stump or rock jutting out that you don't want to run over and end your day right then and there.
Yeah, and to be honest, the cameras are coming as standard one of these days because the federal government, they want all of that as a feature.
Right.
We all know we're heading down the path where it's just going to be a Tesla. You're going to get a Tesla Wrangler, and you just push a button, and you just watch it drive up the thing, and it's boring.
That takes all the fun away.
Oh, of course. But, I said when the Bronco launched, I said it made Jeep look really old really quickly. And it just it showed some flaws. But I will say this. Now, after I've done 4 months or whatever, I've had my Gladiator, I will say you can definitely tell Ford hit the high notes of what made the Wrangler special. Seating position, looking at it. And they added some tech and stuff. But I will say, after riding in the basically a Wrangler, they miss a lot of little things that make the Jeep special too. Whether it be the weight, just the dash looks, in my opinion, a lot better in the Jeep right now. And the center stack console looks a little more refined. That's where Ford, I think, has gotten caught a little bit in their cheapness of let's just shove the same AC units in that we put into everything. Let's just shove it in there. People be happy. These vehicles need to be special. And of course, Jeep knows that. Jeep, once Daimler got a hold of Jeep and kind of is like, hey, you guys go for it. Don't, we're not a cheap company. Go for it and allow you to become the brand that now that's the only value in the old FCA was Jeep and Ram's the only value there. So they know Jeep knows how to market. They know what the little touches, and I think Ford will come around. But have you noticed any little things that you're like, oh yeah, that's just kind of cheap versus?
Yeah. So you mentioned the dash and the interior. So they obviously went with the technology. They've got that big 12-inch screen. They've got the digital helper screen in the dash, which to me was a little weird because having a screen in the dash, you would imagine it's more customizable than what the Broncos is. It's pretty standard depending on what mode you're in and what you're doing. But it gives you all the information you need: speed, engine speed, pitch, roll, tire pressure, all that good stuff. But it's a little slab-sided inside. It's a little, it generally looks a little cheap. And yes, there's some part sharing going on that is unavoidable.
Yeah.
And to that end, like I've built and priced a couple, and my quote unquote dream Bronco is 58,555. So when you're spending 58,000, 59,000, 60,000 for a vehicle, you expect a little more in the interior. But again, when you're buying a Bronco, you're not buying it for the interior. You're not buying it for a quiet ride. You aren't buying it. you're buying it for the looks and the off-road chops.
But
I'm going to come to the defense
go
of
ahead,
my
Matt.
beloved Bronco real quick because I with the issues like the fit and finish on the interior and the hardtop issues that have been out there so far, the argument is never buy the first generation or the first year of anything, right? Because it's going to have all the issues and the bugs and things like that. No one's talking about any bugs with the transmissions or with the engines or the wheels and tires.
You might want to research that one. They're having a lot of overheating suddenly.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there's been
well,
multiple overheating. I will say this though, people did freak out that they put the lesser what is it, the 1060 transmission in it, not the 1080 that the trucks get.
Yeah.
They fussed about that, but yeah, I don't ever think that's going to be a problem with the thing.
I don't think so either. But if I guess my point is if you're going to skimp on something or if the issues are going to be in the superficial things,
Yeah.
I would rather it be there than it would on the engine or transmission or a wheel bearing or something like that.
Or suspension, like any of the capability.
Yeah, but to that, Jeep has the Rubicon, which is kind of their it's their most hardcore off-roader. Plus, it's really the most luxurious one they make too. And I know they have the Safaris, but really, for a nice overall Jeep, the Rubicon's where it's at. And if I compare the Rubicon to the Badlands, and I love both of them, trust me. And I had, as you guys know, I have one on order. It's not like I don't have I'm crapping on a Bronco and don't, want to own one. It would be my driveway now if, Ford could build it. But
right.
That's where I look at it. So they want to take on Rubicon with Badlands. They're really proud of the fact that we have the sway disconnect. Everything about Badlands is almost identical to Rubicon except some of the interior of it. And I know Ford will in 2 years they're going to revamp this thing a little bit. They're definitely going to some of the pieces like the center plastic in it. It's a different color and it's been mentioned by other people besides me. Doesn't really match anything else about the vehicle. It looks like it's very scratchable, and we're off-roading. You got keys in your pocket. Your whatever is going to bump into this. It's going to scratch up real easy. There's just little things like that I think that Ford understands what made the Wrangler cool, but they didn't spend enough. They don't have 60 years or whatever Jeep has fine-tuning it, and that's my only concern with it.
And yes, to that end, you can definitely tell which of the two have been around and how they've just kept refining the Jeep and finding, the low-hanging fruit each year model, each body style, and they've just improved it year over year over year. And it's going to be a fun race for sure. I'm thoroughly going to enjoy this battle back and forth.
Okay, let's get into IFS a little bit with these things because you got to do some time off-roading with it. I love the fact that the conversation about the independent front suspension right now is like Bronco just broke the mold and like they were the first to ever do it. Like nobody had ever thought to put independent front suspension on it. And I'm over here with the Xterra that was like, torsion bars, and then they went into the normal coil-over suspension. And, look at 4Runner forever. And people love 4Runners, but suddenly when Ford does it, it's like never been done before.
Right. What about all the half-ton pickups that have had four-wheel drive independent front suspension for decades?
Yeah.
It's kind of a silly argument. We had a TRD Pro actually just recently as a press rig, and we're blown away, both of us, by its capability, even being IFS. And it's kind of fun to pick a wheel up every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, what's more cool than like seeing your truck up at a pitch and the wheels are not touching the ground,
Yeah.
Because I tell you this, my Gladiator will do the exact same thing right now. It's solid front end, but guess what? There's limit to what that thing's going to droop.
And to the end of all the electronics in there, Ford has compensated as best they can with all the other electronics to make sure you're still getting traction where you need it and how you need it, regardless of how many wheels are actually touching the ground. So it's small sacrifices here and there that they're like, okay, we can beat Jeep here in ride and handling, and that's, I would really like to see a stat on what percentage ever see hurt.
Yes. Well, even Wranglers, what percentage? They
Right.
look like they do, but
Right.
and I think that's where if you take these people, the mall crawler crowd, and you put them in a Bronco now, and they're going to go, oh my God, you mean it drives straight? Because
Yeah.
my Wrangler, I'm about to take mine to Michigan, or my Gladiator, and I'm kind of like, man, that's going to be a long drive because that's chasing this thing all 800 miles or whatever it is to Detroit. I'm like, there are some sacrifices that Jeep gets for the flex, and that's where Bronco
Right.
definitely makes up. But off road? What was your impressions of having that independent?
It never, granted, so this was a course built with Von Gittin Jr.'s help. It was built to show off what the Bronco can do and hide maybe what it cannot do or
Right.
not do as well. So all that said, it was very much still uh, basically a glorified commercial for them
Yeah.
in that, it's not putting it outside of its comfort zone. Um, it rode very well and it was very capable in all that we did. Yes, I did get some wheels up in the air, but I didn't even have the disconnectable stay bar in mind because again I was in a Wildtrak and that only comes on the Badlands.
Yeah.
So that part it wasn't an issue for me. I was still able to power on and go through whatever I needed to go through. There were some times where I had to stop and make sure my diffs were locked up before I kept on going. But yeah, completely capable for a large majority of the people that are going to be off-roading for the first time or taking these off-road period. I think it's plenty capable, and Ford has made inroads in the technology to compensate for just that lack of front articulation.
Yeah, and Raptor's been a blessing for them as far as that. They've learned a lot about off-road through Raptor.
And oh my goodness. So going through that fun haver section, riding along with them, you could definitely see the Raptor DNA that was built into the Bronco. So again, going back to our friends with Brake Check Show, Brian, who was there, has a first gen Raptor as his daily, and he's baha'd it, so to speak. And I immediately, after I got out, I asked him, "So, have you done that in yours?" Yes. And I was like, "What are your thoughts? Is it Raptor DNA?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, totally." So they've learned a lot from Raptor and built upon that and made just a very capable, very awesome rig.
Well, where do you guys stand with? So they're having troubles getting this thing out, and obviously, like we said earlier, the tops are, other than first edition, are probably no more for the rest of the year till they get those bugs worked out. Where do you see them now? I know that the machine has to keep chugging along, but so you can't get the normal Bronco out, and we're starting to see the Bronco R, whatever they're going to call it, the Warthog, the Bronco Raptor, whatever. That thing's floating around now, and we've been teased with the hybrid version floating around. And then you get to the fact. Now, I guess it's a long question, but I've said they've had too many options now. There's just too. They needed a base, maybe the Black Diamond, the Badlands, and really that's what I would have came out with. But now you're about to add a Heritage Edition and this and that. Where do they stop with this and just get a Bronco out?
I would agree with you, and I would argue the same for the Wranglers. I mean, how many different packages and options can you get with a Wrangler right now, including the one with a pickup bed on the back of it? So there's oodles and gobs of options, and that seems to be consistent across the board. I don't think they're doing themselves any favors by offering so many different flavors of Bronco, and like you said, continuing to add to it. Let's get it out. Let's get some miles on these rigs. Let's see where they're going to break, because we all know they're going to break somewhere.
Yeah.
And let's fix those issues. And then you can worry about the Heritage Edition, and you can worry about the Warthog or R or Raptor or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because now you've got a solid rig to build off of. The fit and finish issues that we were talking about earlier. If the Raptor is any indication as to what Ford can do when it comes to refinement, give them a couple of years with the Bronco, and I think it'll be right up there on par, if not blowing the doors off of the Wrangler with the fit and finish and the capability.
Yeah, my business mind is right there with you because Jeep, when they rolled out the JL, only you had the Sport, you had the Sahara, and you had the Rubicon, basically. Mm-hmm. And now I'm on their website right now. They have 14, not taking into account the 4xe. So 14 different Wranglers that you can choose from, but they built up to that. They slowly rolled out and got all those kinks out with a small amount, and then they started adding those options and making it more customizable and more tailored to all the buyers that are out there. Whereas Ford just said, no, we got to come out swinging. And I bet somebody is kicking themselves for not limiting the 2021s to a simpler option list and model list.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at their website right now. Got it pulled up for everybody. Yeah, I get like the 4xe, and obviously, Ford's going to do something similar. They're going to react to that. But yeah, so with mine, I picked up a Willys edition, and which is a lot of bang for the buck, but it's a Sport that they just plus up. Yeah, Jeep is I tried to do a build and price on their website one time, and I was just like, at the end of the 30 minutes I sat there, I was just like, I don't know where I'm at versus where I should go. But you know what they do? They have them on dealerships. Like, so you don't need to know what's on the website. You know what Rubicon means or Sahara means or Sport means. Yeah. And I couldn't have went up to the dealership and known, well, yeah, but this one's a Sport Plus. Like, you're like, where do you stop with this? But to that, like I said, you can go to their dealership and they're there versus the problems Fords have right now. And where do you guys stand with the dealer markups? Because they're rampant right now, and they're about to get a lot worse. When Ford announced that, you can't get the hardtop, the few that they're able to ship out right now, dealers are going to go not even 40%. They're going to go 60, 80% on these things, right?
Yeah, it's about to get stupid crazy out there. And a lot of those are going to be people with money to burn that are going to go flip them themselves. Yep. They're going to try and work a deal and go flip them and sell them to someone else and never have put any miles on them themselves.
Well, so, I have a viewer here that his dad's been flipping Corvettes. Like, he was smart enough to pre-order 4 of them. And guess what? By the end of it, he's got one that's paid for and didn't cost him a dime probably, And I wished I would have had the mind of, you know what? I'm going to pre-order 3 of these things because they're never coming in at the same time, and just flip them,
The foresight and the credit score
Yes. Well, as long as you sell them.
Right. One thing I will say in the whole Bronco Wrangler battle is going back to build and price and just the insanity that is the Jeep build and price. I've been on both, especially since driving the Bronco and getting to experience it myself. And I'm one that in either instance, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get the one I want. I'm a techie. I want to get all the technology goodies on it. I want to get all the off-road goodies on it. So I'm pretty much maxing one out in one way, shape, or form or another. And so my quote unquote dream Bronco is a 4-door, again, for my family situation, a 4-door Badlands with Sasquatch, 58,555. And then you go over to Jeep's build and price, and they've launched that Rubicon Extreme package with the 35-inch tall tires to combat the Sasquatch, 67,625. So there is a lot to be said about the price difference between the two as well. So I really do see a lot of people kind of scratching their head and going, Jeep's been around a while. It's got that pedigree, but I could get it in the door for a pretty awesome Bronco for way less than I can in a Rubicon. Or, maybe people just aren't as Rubicon crazy as I am, and they'll, build a Sport exactly how they want it.
Hey, I'm happy that Ford allowed for the front locker to be by itself without having to do the rear locker and all that. And I think they will change some of that with the Rubicon too. But like you said, competition's great. No, there's no way around it. Like Jeep had to react real quick. The 392 was proof of that. You know, people have been asking for that for years. Like, you know, how many people convert? We're throwing LS engines into these things, and then you know, putting the Hellcats and stuff. They had to react, and then yeah, like with the 35s, they had to react, and finally, I don't know why Jeep's taken their audience for granted as much as they have till the Bronco came. Of just like, well, they'll buy them every year. The prices for one of these things on either one of them's just outrageous. Honestly, for what you're getting on either of them, they're way overpriced. For a basic transportation, it's crazy. But you know, the name of the game is hype. Yeah, it's all about hype. Now, where do you guys stand with the actual modularity of the Bronco versus what Wrangler does? I think it was pretty smart for Ford to be able to you take all the fenders off, replace them easily. They do realize, oh, there's going to be trail damage, and people might want to quickly put new fenders on.
Absolutely. Super smart move for Ford, and coming out the night that they announced the Bronco with all of the Ford backed accessories to go along with it. You know that some of the first Broncos going out are going to have to be to the aftermarket guys, because aftermarket is where Jeep makes their money. Not Jeep specifically, but that's the beauty of having a Wrangler is if you don't like something about it,
change it.
Somebody's going to sell something that'll change it, you know. So I think it's super smart for them to be able to do that.
Oh, definitely. The one thing I don't like the fenders, the plastic sticking out fenders. I think that's just kind of a
Yeah. They are so easy to take off, though.
Oh, yeah.
That it is not even a problem. Just by hand, you can take them off. So I do think that is incredibly awesome that you can take the over fenders off with no tools. You can take the actual fenders off. Yes, the modularity is pretty awesome. I also like how easy, quote unquote, how easy the hardtop is in that you've got essentially the two panels up front like Jeep does, but then you've got a third panel over the rear. So you can open it up for all passengers without taking the whole thing off.
Yeah.
And then you can take that rear clamshell part off without, I'm sure it's still a two-person job, but it's probably a whole lot less awkward.
Hey, and nothing's more awkward than a Gladiator. I can tell you that, trying to take the top off one of those things.
Yeah, I can tell you, my brother had a JK Wrangler, and I can tell you how many times I helped him take the top on and off of that thing and making sure it was lined up just right. So when I get my Wrangler, I'm going to have a garage-mounted lift system that I just back in, hook it up, lift it, and go.
Yeah. Oh, I was reading something today on one of the forums where somebody was like, they'd come up with a way to do that, and then people are like, "What's this? Wrangler's been doing that forever, guys. Like, you didn't invent the wheel here. Let's just come along, for the right." Because you know the Wrangler lifts the clamps and everything have to work with this thing. It can't be. It's just a strap.
Yeah.
So when you guys get yours to review, kind of where do you start with your reviews? What do you look for? What are you excited by? I mean, I know you've gotten to do the off-roading a little bit, but is there something that you're like, this is where I really, nobody's testing this and I want to see this thing do this?
I'm gonna tow with it first.
Yeah.
I've got a jet ski that's a little over 1,000 pounds with the trailer. I plan on hooking it up and running it down the road. I'm just now starting to see, as a few people have theirs, I'm starting to see some people towing. I think I saw a picture yesterday or today of somebody with a pop-up camper behind theirs. So that'll be one of the things that I do right out of the gate. And on-road, as it sounds, on-road driving impressions.
Yeah.
I want to know how it rides, how it acts, how much wind noise there is, because yeah, we can take them to the rodeo, we can beat them up in the dirt, but as we've mentioned a handful of times already, 80 to 90% of these rigs are going to see 80 to 90% of their life on pavement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well it fits. I've got a two-car garage, but it's two independent doors with a brick pole in between the two of them. So, how does it fit in a normal life?
Right.
How can we incorporate the Bronco lifestyle into our life and where we are? What sacrifices have to be made? What changes have to be made? How easy is it to park the daggum thing at the mall? Because driving it on the trail, it is big, it is wide, it is a square block that cannot be denied. And so it'll be really interesting, yes, to see how it does on road. Because to this end, let's see, I've ridden in one on the Chicago Auto Show test track. I've driven one on a purpose-built off-road course. We're gonna undoubtedly take it to Barnwell to put it through its paces in a free environment. But yes, we definitely want to see how it behaves on road for those who are going to be living with it. And for my 5-foot wife, how easy is it to get in and out of?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and they were smart. They were smart to add rock rails, but they could have stepped those up slightly with some sort of step on them. I mean, I know what rock rails are for. Those will be very functional, but at the same point, there's been so many aftermarket companies put kickouts on them or just little bumps for them, so you can use it as a step. I think that's one area they could have done Jeep. They could have outdone Jeep just a little bit, but I get it. It's about cost. It's about they're already, you don't want these things dinged up. I've worked in plants. I know what it's like. You're going to tear it up no matter what. So the smaller the part, the better for them. I'm interested to see if you get it in your garage because you got that big spare tire sitting back there too.
So being that I've been building and pricing Jeeps for a very long time, I've figured out just how tight and how to fit a Wrangler in my current parking spot. So it would be very interesting to see if and how and where and what all I have to do to get it to fit in my garage. It'll be fun because you had to climb a 15-degree incline and hang a hard right to get into my garage, and then you had to thread the needle between the openings. So it will be an adventure. I'll have to use that trail turn assist just to get driveway.
Right. I was going to say that when you were talking about taking it to the mall, you might as well just do it there at the mall. Might help you get in a spot.
Oh my goodness. So we called that the giggle button as we were out on the trails, and it very much was. I enjoyed using it more than I should have because I kind of rolled my eyes. I got the two-door because it was going to be more maneuverable on the trails as it was, but it was so much fun to hit that and then hit a very sharp left or right turn.
Well, there was somebody drifting with it already. They got their Bronco. They had it out in the parking lot, kicking that in, I was like, oh, you're going to ruin the rear end of that thing, man. That's not what it was intended for. But you do have to get in the throttle with that, right? It's not like you don't just creep with it.
Right. So you're basically trying to compensate for the fact that you've got one rear tire completely locked up. So yes, you have to crank hard on the steering wheel as far as you can, and you got to give it some throttle to actually make it move. And you hear the ABS acting up because that's what's making it work. So anyone who's lucky enough to have never experienced ABS working, it's going to freak out. Well, what's wrong with my Bronco? But that's it should work.
Well, I know you guys had some questions you wanted to ask. I'm going to turn the show over to you guys now. And if you see, I know you're probably having a hard time seeing the comments, but if there's something you guys want to talk about, feel free to. Guys, in the comments, if you have something you want to ask them about, feel free, and we'll try to get the questions in here.
Are you really sure you want to turn it over to us?
Hey, man.
It's risky business.
Hey, you got all 4,000 of my subs, man. So you guys are going to be here before you know it. So go have at them.
Awesome.
All right, Matt, introduce the segment.
What we typically do in an interview is we have kind of an interview within an interview, and it's called Random Misfire. And it's 8 just kind of either or, yes or no, back and forth kind of questions to give us a chance to find out a little more about you in its own little miniature interview of sorts. So Corey and I will go back and forth.
Say it.
I have to say it, don't I?
Yes, you do.
There's 8 questions because every engine should come with 8 cylinders.
Which you can get in a Wrangler.
I know. on Bronco Talk, and I'm talking about 8 cylinders.
But
and
you
everybody
get,
keeps waiting for the
you
8-cylinder
get
Bronco.
6
but-
cylinders plus 2 turbos. So that's 8,
Ah!
right?
There's the 8 right there.
Justified however you must. Anyway, so yes, there are 8 questions. We'll go back and forth, 4 from each of us. They're fun, yes or no, either or, and yeah, just get to know you kind of questions. Matt, do you want to start us off?
I'll start us off, and I'm going to start us off on a very low note. You have to choose one or the other: a vehicle with a CVT or an EV.
Ooh, I'm going EV on that one. EV all day
Going
long.
EV?
Only because I've been a Nissan guy, so I know the shortcomings of CVTs already. But electric vehicles, instant torque and power. You know, I mean, I'm not a big EV guy, but if I had to choose, definitely EV.
All right. So we've done a lot of Bronco versus Wrangler here, but what about TRX or Raptor? What
Oh
camp you
man,
in?
this eats at my soul a little bit because horsepower. You love horsepower, right? But
Oh,
the TRX is not a complete desert runner. You know, it's a street runner more really than it's something off-road ish. But unless you're that guy up in Pennsylvania that thought you should jump a creek with it and just destroy one, which broke my heart. I'm probably going.
I don't like.
I'm probably going to go TRX on that one, only because that's one thing Dodge and Ram just know. They know you just shove the biggest V8 you can shove into something, and people will buy it. And right now, the Raptor is great, but it just sounds horrible.
It is, yes.
So seeing TRX, Raptor, TRX. Yeah. So we're pretty split in the comments as well.
Raptor. CVT sucks. There you go. All right. Let's see. I had one picked out. All right. So in the vehicle with probably the largest aftermarket segment on the planet, and we're talking Broncos and Wranglers now, because I do believe that Broncos will quickly catch up to the Wrangler in the aftermarket. Would you rather build it or buy it?
Oh man, once again, this is a tough one. These are tougher than I thought they were going to be. Well, let's see. So I am 47 years old, so I've built quite a few vehicles of my own. But at some point, your wallet starts to grow, and you're like, you know what? I can just have this. But
Right.
But you go back and what?
With a warranty.
Yes, with a warranty. But you also go back and go, part of the fun of an off-road vehicle is the build, right? Why did I used to build RC cars. Why did I never raced them. The fun was putting them together. So I'm going to have to say build.
Yes. All right. Good answer. That's a good answer.
All right. Matt normally asks this one, but I'm still from him on this. We talked about cameras. We talked about some of the electronic goodies that Ford has put in the Bronco. But are team more technology in vehicles or less technology in vehicles?
If we're talking cars, definitely more. I think just daily use. I think Tesla, they know they were years ahead of everybody. Hey, let's make these cars almost drive themselves. But
Yeah.
I'm an off-road guy at heart, and like the idea, I like a manual transfer case. That's one thing I love about the Jeep is you know when it engages, you know it works. But then you're like,
You got a manhandle.
yeah,
too.
but then you're like, oh man, those goat modes, you just twist a knob. I'm gonna have to go manual transmission. I'm the old school guy. Less is more for me.
Yes. Yes. All right. Along the same lines, manual or automatic?
Ooh, let's see. I'm going to say automatic real quick, but here's my reasoning why. I had a 1989 Jeep YJ, carbureted.
Okay.
Just they didn't come right from the factory. Horrible. They wouldn't run. And I took this thing off roading, and a lot of my audience knows I'm by trade a land surveyor, so I kind of professionally off road for a living. And I've always had manual transmissions for that. But I took that Jeep and I spent a day off-roading it, doing rock crawling and stuff. And at the end of the day, I was just like, you know what? I want an automatic transmission because I'm out here to enjoy this. I'm not looking for an exercise routine. My leg was worn out. My arms were worn out. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I want autos.
Yeah, I took my 2012 Camaro SS to a NASCAR race at Texas Motor Speedway and 6-speed manual. And by the time I got 2 miles away from the event, which was an hour later, my left leg was dead. I was over it. I said, never again am I driving to a race at Texas Motor Speedway.
I bought a 94 Firebird, and it was the V6 with the manual transmission. And the only reason I got the manual in it is because I knew the auto, it was already a V6, and 90 V6s are not what they are now. Like, they were dogs.
Right.
And I knew it would be a dog, so I was like, well, the manual will help a little bit with that. But then I went to East Tennessee, and anybody that knows Tennessee, there's a place called Pigeon Forge. It's a tourist trap. It's horrible. It's nothing but red lights. And yeah, kind of like you, after about 2 hours in traffic, I was like, no more.
All right, so sticking with the transmission side of things, this is a brand new question that we've never asked before. You've driven trucks, you've driven all kinds of things. Are you a column shift person? So think Chevy GMC, or are you anything else like the dial or the floor mounted shifter, or what is your gear selection preference in that automatic that you're buying?
Well, let's for one get the dial out of the way. That was the worst decision Ram could have ever made. That was just dumb.
Yes.
That is my only knock on anything Ram right now is.
Yeah, but let's see. So I've been a Nissan guy. So the first gen Titan had a car or a in dash or not in dash. I'm losing words today. Yeah, it was on the floor. So I liked that, but then the Gen 2 threw it up into the column because that's what Ford and everybody did. And now all the competition's like, no, let's put it back down where the Titan had it. I'm like, I don't know. I will say this: it's nice to lay your hand on that when it's sitting there versus a column, But I could go either way on that. I don't know. I've never thought like, which do I like more?
Just no dial, right?
No dial at all.
All right, Matt. Last question for you.
All right, yeah. Last question for me, and I'm gonna throw you a softball question. Favorite car movie?
We always got to add to our list.
What are some that have came out before I answer? What are some of the popular choices?
Bullet, Gone in 60 Seconds, Baby Driver, anything Fast and Furious.
Not anything.
No way, no way. Baby Driver, great car. That early part of that movie, great car movie. I'm going 80s here. When I was a little kid, Chrysler came out with a prototype car, and it was like nothing they'd ever seen. Like, it was just this, I can't even describe it. It was almost like a low bubble, and it was in a movie called The Wraith.
Oh, we're losing him.
Oh, did you lose me?
No, you're back.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
So this car was in a movie called The Wraith, and I forget what Dodge at the time titled this thing, but it was this prototype car. It was a Charlie Sheen movie. It's a horrible movie. The guy was reincarnated as this car. Just a horrible movie. But for some reason, when I seen this car as a little kid, I was just like I don't know what even the story was. I was just mesmerized by the car. It's either that or Knight Rider. I loved Knight Rider as a kid.
Okay.
I'm loving some of the comments. Ford versus Ferrari, Herbie the Love Bug.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gone in 60 Seconds. That's fantastic. Christine, it's kind of along the same lines.
All right. So I'm going to finish this out here. I used to claim that there was a right and wrong answer, but I'm conceding that there is not.
Okay.
It goes along with some of your car movies that you just listed.
Right.
Do you name your cars?
Of course. What red-blooded America would never name their vehicles? I mean, because there's a personality associated with each one, and you kind of have to do that. But I will say this. I have a thing in my household where I always name my cars or trucks after TV shows I'm watching. So there's usually a character or something. So in 2005, I had a Honda Element, which I still think is one of the best little vehicles ever made. I will go down fighting about that was a great vehicle, and Honda killed it way too.
Is it automatic or manual?
Oh no, it was the auto. So yeah, it wasn't.
Oh.
It wasn't great.
Okay.
But it was 24 miles a gallon. I didn't care. So
Yeah.
I named that vehicle JD. Can you tell me why JD? And think mid 90s TV shows.
Was it Scrubs?
It was Scrubs. You got it, man.
I am JD.
And then I had a white Xterra that I called after that. I called Turk. And I'm known through forums about that Xterra called Turk. And I will still get people email me, go, how's Turk? And I'm like, dude, I lost that vehicle like a long time ago. I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, I went through a movie star phase. I had a vehicle named Scarlett.
Mm-hmm.
Angelina.
Yeah.
Let's see. My truck was Sarah Joe. That was just because she needed to have two names and kind of country.
You're in
So
Texas.
Sarah
You
Jo.
got it too.
Right,
Exactly.
right. So, yeah, I've named all of my personal vehicles. My wife's Jeep is the only vehicle that I have quote unquote owned or had in my possession or drive daily that has not gotten a name, and we just can't agree.
So my wife had a 2009 Xterra, and I had a 2000 Xterra at the same time. One was a rock crawler, just never going to see the road, and the other was her daily. And I named them Stan and Francine. Can you tell me why they're called Stan and Francine? This is I'm gonna cheat a little bit. It's off of a cartoon.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's outside of my realm of.
I feel like I should know it, but
There's a cartoon called American Dad, and the dad had a black Ford Explorer, and the mom, I don't know what she drove, but for whatever reason, me and my wife just loved that show, and I was like, well, that's Stan and Francine now. So our cars were married of sorts.
Nice.
I never ventured off into American Dad. I stayed with Family Guy when I was in the Seth MacFarlane realm.
So Corey, you know what I drive? My Snazzleberry Gladiator. Any guesses? Any guesses what the name of that one is?
Oh gosh, what shows are popular right now?
I will say this one can be a TV show or a movie. This one I did stretch it a little bit.
Oh boy,
It's red with black, highlights.
Is it going to be a Game of Thrones reference or like?
No, not the Red Wedding.
Yeah,
it is a Jeep though, so I have to worry if it's going to die like that. So.
Okay, I'm gonna have to bow out on this one because I'm not gonna lie. We cut cable a long time ago.
Smart.
And we don't even have Netflix. We're Disney Plus, and we're watching a bunch of animated stuff with
a
3-year-old. I'm out of touch with pop culture all of a sudden.
Well, there's a movie called Deadpool.
Okay.
But I didn't call it Deadpool. I called it Wade because his normal personality is Wade Wilson. So I was like, I'll call that one Wade.
Nice.
But
I like it.
I feel like I've taken all your questions and just way too long.
No, that's awesome.
That is exactly what we want to happen with this because we want to get to know everybody that we sit down and have a conversation with. So
you guys in the comments, what do you name your vehicles? I'm curious if your vehicles have names.
Yeah, I've been peeping at a few. My Ford Escape named Cartman. Is that South Park reference there? We've had, like, when we first launched our channel, we put that question out to our Facebook fans, and we had the PT Cruiser named Tom. We had, that was over a year ago. I'm trying to remember so many of them, but yeah, Tom Cruiser was the one that stuck in my head. All else. My current car is a 2013 Chevy Cruze, and for Texas Rangers fans or Mariners fans, or I don't even know where he is nowadays, but I named my car Nelly, so it's Nelly Cruz for the boomstick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I've had Cameron the Camaro, and yeah, I've had a good.
But you got to name your vehicles, right?
That's the way I see it. I just can't not. And it kills me that the Jeep is just the Jeep for us.
just the Jeep.
Yeah, I have to confess, I don't mind naming rigs at all, but I struggle with names on any of my vehicles. My 71 Super Beetle ended up painting it bright orange. That was Tallulah. And my wife, her car was an '05 Camry. It was also Tallulah. Both of those vehicles were named before we had met each other, so that was kind of ironic.
Nice.
But that's
I'm loving the taco called Coma.
yes,
in the
yes.
comments. So yeah, you see so many of them shed off and just have taco on the back, but yeah, Coma. Very
Coma.
nice. Yeah.
What are some of the worst names you've seen like for Jeeps, Corey? Because like you're a Jeep guy. There's some just horrible names. Like because now Jeep guy likes putting it on the side of their hood, which I'm guilty.
Right.
I put my brand on the side of my hood. But I've seen some ridiculous names on these things.
I don't want to incriminate myself in that. I know 30 group that I'm in and put anybody on blast, but I kind of roll my eyes at some. I know the Silver Fox is one of them, and I know owner quite well, and I'm just like, bruh. I'm like, no, it's just no.
Well,
plus I hate silver on vehicles anyway, so it's just.
Well, for Bronco, it has to be the juice. I see that more than anything. Everybody wants a white Bronco and call it OJ or something like that. I'm like, they all think it's original, and maybe to them it probably was original, but I see that and I'm just like, come on, guys, let's be more creative than that.
No, I would get an orange one and name it the Juice or
Yeah.
Juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
so even before our show started, my buddy who we ordered, he was a day 1 reservation and I was a day 3. I told him a few months ago, I was like, hey man, if you get that hardtop off your vehicle, the order will go through. I guarantee you. And like a week and a half later, his order was picked up on this. But I wanted to say, that's why I was late talking to you guys, was he was calling me. He just picked it up at the dealership. I'd gotten a picture. I got a picture. I know people at the plant, and I got a picture of this thing being built and sent it to him, and he was freaking out about it. So, but now he's rubbing it in my face of like, oh, I've got mine. Where's yours at? And I'm like, oh, you're killing me here, man. But I told him I like doing stupid trips, man. That's the great thing about autos. Cars, trucks, whatever. They give you the ability. If I want to be in a day and a half, I can be in California. You know, it's one reason why I love cars and I love stupid trips. And I told him, if I'd not had the trip going to Detroit this weekend, I told him, I was like, as soon as you get it, I'm driving up to video your vehicle. And he lives in Iowa. And I was like, I will be right up there. And a buddy that always rides with me, or I ride with him on these dumb trips, I was like, hey man, just be ready for the call because it's coming in. And now it's totally crushing me that I can't go enjoy his vehicle with him. So are you two the car people of your circle, or are there other people that are kind of love them just as much as you two do?
For my circle, I'm kind of the person that everybody comes to with all their car questions.
Well, you're certified, man.
Right?
Well, yeah. That certifiable sometimes, but that's where I end up. My dad and I talk a lot about cars, and Corey and I talk a lot about cars, and my wife likes that I go to my dad and to Corey to talk about cars and not her. So
right,
there's perks to having a podcast where you get to do just that.
For me, my older brother, he's had some crazy rigs. He's had a R32 Skyline right-hand drive.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a S2000, an RX-7. So he's had some pretty crazy stuff. He's more in that JDM kind of world, and I'm classic American because I'd have a 69 Camaro in a heartbeat. But yeah, so we surround ourselves with plenty of gearheads, and but yeah, especially since we started this, like people are coming to us more and more.
Yeah.
What are some of the, like, every once in a while I'll get weird emails, like just the weirdest comments, and have you guys gotten some of that stuff where you're just like showing each other, like you got your phone and you're just like, did you see what this guy just are y'all starting to get some of that?
So we got a comment on our TRD video where somebody called me red and told me to shut my mouth and stop talking about what I don't know about. And some of our other YouTube buddies were like, man, you haven't made it until you start getting haters. So I laughed pretty good at that one. But for me, I get a lot of people that, and I would love to do it, want me to help them in their car buying business. I love negotiating car sales. Like, I don't know, I get a rush from it.
Yeah.
And so I get more of those questions. What should I buy? How should I do it? And Right now, I'm like, don't buy. Just don't.
Just don't do it.
There's going to be so much markup. You aren't going to get incentives. Like, don't. If you don't have to, don't.
Yeah, that's
But,
why I did my Jeep in May, man. I told my wife, I said, I'm pushing the Bronco. I'm just too worried about the top issue. At that time, I'd heard some stuff. And I told her, I said, if we don't buy the Jeep now, like by the end of summer, you're not going to see them. And I can go to my local dealership and they might have one or two. Like it went from, they always keep 20, 30 of them on stock to when they get one, it's gone. And so I was really pushed her. I said, hey, our lease is up on this and we need to make moves. But now, yeah, I watch that market now. It's ridiculous what it's doing.
It is. So spending time in the automotive realm, we would get people calling in, and I still get this on occasion, but all right, my car's doing this. What's wrong with it? And
I send all those questions to me.
yeah, I mean, there's some things that you can explain. Okay, the steering wheel shakes when I hit the brakes. Okay, it's time for new rotors,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there's some off the wall crazy stuff. Like my car only overheats in first gear at 12 miles an hour when I drive it uphill, or just weird off the wall stuff. And it 9 times out of 10, unless you're sitting behind the wheel of the vehicle, it's incredibly difficult to diagnose anything over the phone, especially. But I do what I can to help people, and usually it ends up being that I'll give them the worst case scenario, which is you should sell your car immediately; it's about to explode. To you probably have a blown fuse.
Yeah.
And it's fun to mess with people in that regard. But yeah.
Oh, they'll get political in my videos for whatever reason, the comments. I have no reason why they do that. They'll talk about my backwards hat more than anything. Like I'll have people like get angry. You can tell they're typing this angry about my hat, and I'm like, dude, I've been rocking this since like 92 or something. Like, and then my little soul patch, they like, you just need to shave that off. And you're like, thanks for watching. Because you want to be nice. You never want to be. I've gotten to now where you write something just garbage. Guess what? It's gone. You're out of my life. I had old Estrethal. I'd hit him up out at one time. I was like, how do you deal with some of this stuff? And he's like, that's what the erase button's for, man. You just move on.
Yep.
I love that he shares some of his most interesting comments himself. So yes.
Yeah, no, Tim has a lot of fun with that. So what is obviously Bronco Week? What does Bronco Week entail for you guys? You said they got a video coming out tomorrow. What else is coming up?
So yes, our video tomorrow will be really all about the Texas Off-Rodeo location and event. And we interview Corey Rice, the lead trail instructor there. So that's in tomorrow's video. And then we've got one or two. I haven't cut it down yet. I don't know how much content I'm going to have to cut out and if there's enough for a second video, but I'm looking at my first driving impressions. Like I said, we were in the Broncos moving from 10 to just after 1 p.m. So there was a lot of content gathered and just trying to find the right narrative of editing those stories together and seeing what we got there. And then Friday, we will have our podcast kind of tying a bow on Bronco Week here at GT Garage Talk.
Well, nice. Well, guys, go check their channel out for one thing. See, I'm getting crazy comments now. I shouldn't have mentioned that. But go over to Matt and Corey's channel, GT Garage, and check it out. Smash the subscribe button. It's not just Broncos. They do everything. Much like this channel, we do a little bit of everything, but you also want to go where the bills get paid, and Broncos helping me do that, so I do appreciate that.
It is absolutely helping us as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Our Bronco videos are some of our top rated ones, as well as some Grand Cherokee L. People are really interested in that 3-row Grand Cherokee.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are as we wind this down, what are some of the ones that you, because me and Tim talk a lot about this. I'm like, dude, if I put a ton of effort into the video, I can guarantee you it's never doing anything. Like, you're not going to get any views. And then I can, like I told you before the show started, I ranted. I was mad about something about Ford did with the Bronco, and I got 87,000 views. I'm like, I don't know. Where's the line of quality versus just getting the word out? Do you guys have some videos you were real proud of and then went, oh, they didn't do anything?
So I will end on this note. It was my grand ambition, and the timing of it was all wrong. So I am a runner. When the mood strikes me here lately in July and August in Texas, it has not struck me that much. But I enjoy running. It's what I do for my own mental therapy as well as exercise. And I thought just doing something crazy. And we got a hold of a VW ID4 all electric. And I had this crazy idea of a zero emissions race. Matt was going to drive the ID4 and I
And
was
sit in the air conditioning.
and I was going to race him on foot. And it just so happened the timing of when we got it, it was July 24th in Texas. And it's hot, y'all. It is hot and humid in East Texas in July. And oh my goodness, it was just under a 3 mile race, so not even a 5K. And it was a struggle. I don't know how much sweat came out of me in the production of this video. And we got it cut together. We had a production studio help us out with it. And like it's one of the most cinematic videos that we've done.
Nice.
Because we've already done a review of the ID4. So I wanted to do something fun.
Right.
We got it out there, we got it published, and like nothing. And it just kind of sat out there. And then a few views picked up, and then like literally nothing. It went hours without a single view. And I don't know what algorithm, what Google something caught a hold of it, and it got a strike for alcohol content and for sexual content.
From
And I'm
YouTube.
like, what on earth is going on
Yeah.
here? It was not being fed to anybody. It was like in the
Yeah.
dark web. Like they were hiding it from everybody. And like I opened a chat with Google and I was like, there is zero alcohol content in here and zero sexual content. I don't know what y'all are doing. And like I could tell when all that was lifted because I'm looking at the graph of views right now. Like there was a little bump when it first went live, and then it was flatlining, and then this huge skyrocket of views again when they realized, oh yeah, this doesn't have any of the stuff we struck it for.
Oh, they definitely throttle what they want to throttle.
Yeah, that was like the most upsetting thing to me. Like I put my heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears. Like literally, I bled for this video too because I rubbed a couple blisters as well. So blood, sweat, tears went into this video, and just to have it flatline like that just ticked me off, no end. But obviously, views have picked up on it, and we've got a rematch coming that we cannot share too much. But you definitely come subscribe. YouTube.com/GT Garage Talk. We've got some fun stuff coming that I cannot wait to record. And yeah, your day's coming. You're gonna rue the day, Matt. So anyway,
I'm gonna smoke you. That's what it comes down to.
Hey man, AC doesn't matter. That's my
Right.
deal.
That's exactly right.
I'm hoping it gets a little cooler here before our next race, but we shall see.
Well, guys, go check their channel out once again. I definitely want to talk to you guys again, and especially once you break that 1,000 mark, which I think you're going to do in a week or two, man. I really do. They good videos, like you were saying. The editing of your videos is really good, way better than anything I can do. And I dig it, and it bums me out that you guys haven't already broke that 1,000. But hopefully my barnacles will come over there and help you guys out a little bit. So, guys, I'm going to pause the video for just a second, viewers. So just chill out just a second, and we'll be right back, and I'll answer some of your questions. And we're back. What is going on, guys? Definitely, once again, go check those guys out, man. Corey's a good dude. First time getting to meet Matt, but he seems like an excellent cat as well. And definitely go show those guys some love, man. I don't care how many's in this. Just you guys wouldn't believe just by hitting the subscribe button how that can change people's lives on YouTube. So definitely show some channels some love, and especially that one. Go do it. Let's get them over that hump. Anyway, so. Man, you guys, I literally, I can't keep up with the chat. You guys are going nuts over there, and you got your own conversations going, which I love. I feel like that you just tune in now just to so you guys can talk to each other, and you're all pals and friends, and there you go. So what has been going on in the week of Bronco that is, well, I guess that is Bronco. It's been kind of a quiet one since Ford dropped the bomb on everybody last week that, the hardtop issue. My buddy, I posted it in Instagram. I've talked about it several times. We had him on the phone last week, my buddy Luke Penko with Lifestyle Off-Road. The show was a couple minutes late because he literally was picking up his Black Diamond today from Granger Ford. And I was so excited about it. I've been bugging him like crazy. He literally was like a detective with this thing. He knew where it was at on the CX rail yards, and he knew more about it than the dealership knew about it. So their channel name is GT Garage, and it's a little difficult. Let's see if I can't find a link for you, because I want you guys definitely to go check those guys out. Let's see if I can find it real quick. But what is going on in y'all's world, man? Hopefully you're having an awesome Monday, and not some like a normal Monday where it just bums everybody out, and you're like can't wait for the week to be over. All right, got the link. Share this with you guys. There you go. There is the link to their site. Seriously, go show those guys some love, man. I mean it when I say it. And you guys know that I try to be pretty truthful with you guys about this stuff. You could help those just by getting them over that 1,000 sub mark. You can change their world as far as just being able to do better equipment, or just starting to earn a little bit of money with the channel. So definitely go do that. But I want to get into this link that I'm about to share. This is the T-shirt we were all talking about last, when was it? Thursday, Friday, something like that. The Bad Batch shirts, and I want to get these this limited edition shirt we're trying to do out. I'm not making any money on this. I literally told you guys. I text my buddy Luke with Lifestyle, and I said, "Hey man, get on it," and he had that ready to go that night. And it's going to be just. I think he's got a quick date on it. Let's see. August 28th is when the buy on that ends, and I know some of you are interested in buying one of those shirts, so check out the link, and if you want to buy one, buy one. If you don't, once again, no skin off my back. But so somebody was asking about the TFL video of the Bronco Warthog or Raptor or whatever they're going to call that thing. I did watch that. I seen Roman was chasing around one of those, and I'd be curious what it sounds like, and that's one thing, especially he was a one guy out there just trying to drive and video all that at the same time, so we didn't get any sound clips of it. But everything I'm hearing about it, it's going to be the 3.5 liter EcoBoost, and that motor will crank out some horsepower. So though I don't know where does it end. Is he going to do a sticker too? Other Tim, you can email him and ask. He may. But that's a good idea. I haven't thought about this sticker thing. But definitely check out those shirts. But as far as the Bronco are, I'm a little, like I was talking to Corey and Matt about, where does it stop with Ford? They can't get, and once again, I'm not crapping on the brand itself. We live in a weird time, and they're just doing what they can do. But the train's moving. They got to keep building new cars and new designs and testing new things out. And obviously, the Bronco R is coming. Michael Levine back in December sometime showed the video of it jumping in the air or whatever. We know it's coming. But we got Heritage Edition and all these special editions coming out, and I'm hoping by the end of the month, early September, that we kind of even know what 22 is going to have to show for us. Like it's so up in the air right now with what colors, colors first off, because rumor has it, I have no inside track to this, but what colors are going to be. Like they're going to supposedly doing away with my Rapid Red, which boggles my mind that you would offer. Why would you offer 1 year of entry colors and then completely change your color choices? I don't get that. At the same time, I do realize that you got to sell what people want, and maybe my Rapid Red wasn't as popular as for Ford as it should have been. I don't know. Hopefully they still make some of the colors. I know somebody was asking about the orange, if they were going to make that, or the yellow, whatever you want to call it. And Mike Levine had answered that on Twitter and said, hey, some colors will be here and some won't. And they've hinted that the orange will go away real quick. My pavement ends. My 22 has been canceled. My 21's forever. Hell yeah. It's what everybody needs. We need to come up with a sticker that when you get yours that says I'll be 21 forever or something like that. You guys are crazy in these chats, man. Pat Buck says 3.5 is going to compete with the 392 though. Well, Pat, the 392, let's be honest, in a year that thing's probably gone. I'd be curious the breakdown of sales of that thing, because I don't think it's been as popular as Jeep would like, because it's expensive. What? Starting at what, 67,000, something like that. It's pretty ridiculous. But I mean, it's the ultimate, horsepower Jeep, but off-road toys do not need 400 or 500 horsepower to do what they do. I don't care where you off-road, if you're in the dunes or if you're rock crawling, torque for rock crawling, high speed a little bit for dunes, but it's not like you need 500 horsepower to make your weekend fun. And that's probably just Grumpy Dave here to, discussing that. But so I think the 3.5 would be plentiful for that. And we're at 315, I forget what the 2.7 is, 330. They hit 400 horsepower. That's more than you need. And then what it will do that, right now the Wrangler, that the V6 is what, 18, 22, something like that, 20 combined, 21 combined. That's where that 3.5 will outdo the 392 is at the fuel pump. Let's see. Michael Veen also said making dust is greater than collecting dust, then stuffs two-door Broncos in the Dust Bowl. Yeah, Mobile says 7.3 Godzilla in a Bronco at SEMA. For once, I will never call that engine Godzilla, because there's only one Godzilla, and it ain't done by freaking Ford. Is the 392 Extreme Recon going to be to the Gladiator? Oh, excuse me. I don't think so. I think with Gladiator, they don't want to dump a V8 in the Gladiator, because they don't want people doing more than that truck is capable of doing. And you start adding V8s in that, and somebody thinks they can suddenly tow their house, and I don't know. What's up, Devin? Let's see. Will the 3.8 different tuners offer? What will there be 8 different tuners offering V8 swaps and I believe that V8 swap when I see it, man. The Coyote, if you want to dump a Coyote in that, man, a lot of people don't realize the Coyote is a wide engine. The way the heads and everything mount to that thing, the block, it's wide. And if you look at the spaghetti mess that is Bronco now with the little 2.7, I don't know where they shove that thing, how you would get it in there, but where there's a will, there's a way, and you got to, cutting torch helps a lot of things, but I would be very scared of some of these manufacturers. Like everybody was like showing solid axles under these Broncos, and we're going to do this. And I forget, TFL had a picture or something on social media one time where I forget what company it was, where they were going to offer for under $100,000 a solid axle swap Broncos. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, can it be done? Of course it can be done. But don't offer stuff that you can't physically. They didn't even have a Bronco at the time. So any news on the tow package, Rob? Tow package for what, maybe the Bronco R, whatever we're going to call it? I can't imagine it's any different, if not less than what it is now. Cole says, guys, we need to spread the word on his channel so Dave can quit his day job. Hey, guys, that is a big plus because I do have a plan. There's coming a time when this is going to be full-time. Obviously, when the world opens back up a little bit and I can travel a little bit. Like I said, thanks for the channel. I love that you guys love Broncos, but this channel is not exclusively Bronco. Always Bronco Mondays. These are just so much fun. I would do this anyways, whether I got paid or not. But I have goals of, I want to cover more. Like I did a video today about the Cadillac CT-5, the Blackwing. I did it because I wanted to. I knew that video wouldn't do anything, my build and price video on it. But I have to do videos like that to get the eyes of GM and some of the other manufacturers. So definitely smash the like buttons. I don't care if you don't watch them. Just smash the like button. And so it looks like shows the channel a little bit of love and will allow other manufacturers to jump on board, because I've reached out to GM, especially GM right now with this channel has been like, hey, your audience isn't geared towards anything we do. And I'm like, well, why don't y'all make something cool off-road or update the Silverado or something, give me something to talk about. And GM, especially like the Humvee or the Hummer, whatever we're going to call it. I posted this on Instagram. And I'll pull this up for you so we can discuss this quickly. Instagram. Let's see here. But I do like where the idea's at. So Motor Authority. Let's see if I got this up right. Hang with me just for a second. All right, there we go. So Motor Authority posted this. Watch the GMC 9,000-pound Hummer EV hit 60 in 3 seconds. Now, that's impressive, right? Cole, thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much. 9,000-pound Hummer EV. Now, I'm curious about, we got a Ford Lightning coming up, too, that I haven't heard the exact weight on it. But I got thinking about this 9,000-pound Hummer. That's damn near 2 quarter-ton or half-ton trucks. A half-ton is anywhere from 4,500 to 5,500 pounds. Basically, is about the weight of a normal half-ton truck. That's like almost 2 trucks. And then, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. How long to stop this big bastard? Like I'm blown away that it can do it, but how many people do you run over that you can't stop this locomotive? But I saw that today and it kind of tripped me out. Let's see. Grew up 5 miles from the Humvee plant. Know a half a dozen people who built them. Hoovie's Garage just bought a old Humvee. Let's see. Cactus Broncos 21 says, Dave, GM is moving to Mexico, right? Cadillac, Buick, and Chevy. I haven't heard anything about that. But I'll be honest, like GM doesn't offer me much to talk about, so I don't keep a tab on them like I should. What is the email for the t-shirts? Well, it's under Lifestyle Off-Road. I'll post that link again. And once again, this isn't about me making anything off you guys. I want you to know that. It's just being able to get this shirt out rapidly to you guys. And there you go. Other Tim Davis, All Terrain Nation, if you don't mind, what is going on in Detroit that you are taking a road trip? Well, if I could tell you, other Tim Davis, I would. So I'll be honest though, Tim. It's I've got family up there. Hey, there you can see the numbers. Look, how neat. There you go. I've got some family up there. There's a wedding And then I'm meeting up with Dr. Detroit. You guys know Dr. Detroit. And I'm going to do a review on his first edition Bronco. So that'll be the first one for the channel that officially gets reviewed. So I thought it was fitting that Dr. Detroit offered me the use of his vehicle. And I want to park the Bronco or my Wrangler or Gladiator next to that thing. And I want him to hop in it. I want to get his impression. So I'll probably do 2 videos. One of the oh, dude, my bourbon's getting low, dude. Oh, dude, you did a lightning? Oh man, I'm curious about what you think about that thing. When what made you go down that path? But so I'd like to also do a video of him in the Gladiator and just getting his impressions of with the doors off of that, the doors off of his, and what he thinks of of both one. Let's see, Bad Batch badge should be triangular like the Bronco badges. Pavement, come on, man. You're working with a simple brain guy here. I do agree, though. It should be that way. And I can have him revise that shirt if you've pre-ordered one. And I know there is something a little something he was changing about it. Nothing. I mean, the basic shirt, what you see is there, which is, for those that don't know, we'll throw this up there. So that's what the front of the shirt is going to look like. I know. I talked to him today. He's going to change this down here a little bit. We're trying to come up with a little saying right there. Lost in 21 or something like that. But this is all should look pretty much the same. But I'm definitely with you. We're cool to change whatever you guys want on that shirt. Maybe we'll do another one. I do have some more shirts coming. I've got a new design that's. Let's see if we can roughly. Oh, sorry. Somebody's trying to break me some news. Let me see here because see if you guys can see this. Because I'm curious what you guys think about these shirts. And by the way, there is my buddy Luke's Black Diamond that he picked up from Granger today. I think he said he was the second or third person to pick up their Bronco from them. Sorry for the dead air. I know. I've got some I'm giving these little bags away at an event that I run called Windrock. Silly little. But I've got some gear. I've had people ask me about gear coming, winter shirts and this and that. And that's too hard to find. But I've got some more stuff coming. I know. I froze. I look live on my end, though it wouldn't surprise me. There. I see me moving. Let's see. Dave just froze. Oh, Biden. Yeah. What a cluster F that is. I don't want to get political in this though. Let's see. What do I think of Biden's 50% for all sales to be EV in 8 years? I think it's aggressive, Cactus, but I don't ever see that happening. Till with EVs, and I don't care if you bought the Ford Lightning or whatever, Tesla, whatever you drive that way. The problem with EV right now is just it's battery, miles, and the ability. The infrastructure is not ready to handle everybody trying to charge their vehicles. What are you doing, cat? My cat is over there trying to do. He's behind me trying to do kitty signs on the wall. But I'm not against EV by any means. It's coming. I don't think ever completely, but it's definitely coming. Let's see. Did he get the Sasquatch package altering? Yes, he did. He did. He bought we had basically identical builds. His was white and mine was the red. Let's see. But he did, and he was he had the top down, and I was talking to him on the phone. And I guess he was running me through the Bluetooth. But this is my buddy who he had a hardtop, and he had the tow package, and so he removed the tow package and hardtop, and literally a week and a half later, Grainger reached out to him and said, "Hey, they're going to pull your build." And about another week, when he got his VIN, and his build date was July 16th or July 20th, I think. What's cool is it was right around the same time that Dr. Detroit's was built. So that was really cool. Let's see. Cole voted for Emperor Palpatine. You guys. Yeah, what if there's a power outage? That's the next thing. You know, I know the Lightning's big thing. If you buy the high-end version, you can power your house with it. Yeah, but I'd rather not. Where is the charging power coming from? The Department of Energy has failed since before I was born in getting us all off oil in a meaningful fashion, nuclear or otherwise. I am a big fan of nuclear energy. They definitely. Tim Esterthal was talking. They're up in Nebraska where he's at. They actually are building a nuclear plant, and they don't. My understanding, the way they cool the rods and make all the energy is way different now. Yes, Cole, you're right. EVs can be completely controlled remotely. Well, basically any vehicle now can be. Cigar says, All Terrain Nation, my beach house is 150. Wait. My beach house. I'm in the wrong business. Is 150 miles away, and the Lightning would be perfect truck for that. I rarely use it, but want the nice features and tow my boat and Polaris. Hey man, I'm not that Lightning is cool. I just think that there was such hype in it coming that the numbers were a little bit low on that thing. I would have thought it would have miles would have been a little better in that thing. But anyways, let's see. Any final Bronco questions? We've done over 2 hours now, and I want to say thank you to Corey and Matt with GarageTalk.com for stopping by and talking about their experience with the Off-Rodeo. Let me see. Did I miss anything? I probably did. I do want to say I hope all of our, whatever your beliefs are in what's going on in Afghanistan, I do hope that all of our people come home safe from all that. That's a mess. I don't care what your views are, what side you're on about it. Ultimately, it bummed me out. My buddy Danny served, he's still serving, but he was stationed at the airport that was run over, and it just hurt his feelings that, he had laid down his life for that basically, and for less than a couple hours they overrun it. Over under a build and price being ready by September. I'm gonna say it's all in check. Mobile. I think we'll see one. I forget. Somebody set a date. First week in September. But I don't know. Zachary Rogers says, Dave, I know today is Bronco Day, but how do you think the Bronco and Frontier stack up side by side? I don't think they're in the same category, Zachary. The Frontier can tow things, and the Bronco, the roof comes off. I think the Pro 4X is for Nissan is a good package. I've owned many Pro 4X Nissans. I think that the current Frontier just runs a little short. I think they should have added a front locker for that package. But I think Nissan also has a Nismo version coming. ITO 6000 Airstream would run out of power at about 50 miles. You're probably right on that. Cool. Sorry about hear that, Cole. And yes, a lot of people should be upset by that. Let's see. Bad guy says, "Can you still take the whole roof off with the roof rack?" No, you can't take the back part of the roof off to keep the rack on. Let's see. Dave, where is the photo of thousands of Broncos in Michigan? I can't find it. That's a good question, Cactus. I'm actually going to drive near the plant, and I'm going to try to. You guys got to remind me, by the way. bugged me about this. I'm gonna try to go over by the MAP plant and see what I can see. I'd be curious getting first hands on there, getting first eyes on there, I should say. Cole says, Bronco question: did you guys notice they alluded to an improved version of the Bronco in that Bummer announced in 22? Well, I think the improved version, Cole, would be the roof. Tomorrow, I was hoping to cover this tomorrow, but Nissan has the new Z being unveiled tomorrow. I don't know if you guys are interested in that or not. The Z, one of my biggest live shows I ever did was about the Z over on the Nissan Nation Productions channel. I forget how many me and Danny had. I want to say a couple thousand in that stream. It was a lot of fun. But tomorrow, the new Z is coming, and I'm pretty excited. Wanted to ask Corey, Corey about, he was at the Chicago Auto Show, and they had the Proto Z up there, which I'm curious about that. MAP is across from the airport. That is correct. Over by the Big Beaver, exit 69. Video on the Bronco 6G of the yard and dirt pile at the map. Well, I will say this, Bronco 6G, let's not act like they're not corporate. And I'm sure at some point Ford has said, hey, do you guys want somewhat access to things, knock off some things? So I'm sure they delete some of this. I can post a link to this video over there, and it'll get deleted as soon as I post it. They're all about, if you don't pay to be a sponsor over there, it's all about ad revenue. And if you don't pay their little ad revenue BS, they're not going to allow me to post anything. I will say this, Bronco Nation, who I've poked at a lot, Bronco Nation always allows my links. They've been very friendly to me. And take a drone with me. I do have a drone, Cactus. It's actually charged up in my truck right now. Yeah, the old 280s were a lot of fun, Matt. Well, let's see. Any final last call? Last call. Look at this. Just a little bit left. And by the way, that big old glass of whiskey I had on the last show, I guess last Thursday, I was very late for work that day, the next day. I was sleeping so good. Good thing about a big old glass of whiskey, make you sleep great. But I did that for you guys. I want you to know that. I did that for you guys. Let's see. Any other? And, I would take the drone with me, by the way, but it's probably, if it's that close to the airport, it's probably in a no restricted fly zone. So I'm not going to jail for a little bit better picture. I have the Gladiator with me, though. I'm going to stand in the bed and try to get some cool pictures if I can. Let's see. I hope to be up there. If you are in the Michigan area, the Detroit area, I hope to be up there around noontime. So let me know, and if bring a sticker, give you a sticker, whatever I can do for you guys. So there you go, guys. I appreciate everybody who jumped in tonight. And I appreciate, once again, Garage Talk for being on here. Once again, go show those guys. Thank you for drinking with me, Brad. Go, seriously, guys, show those guys some love, man. I would love the fact that our channel got them over the hump. So, and they just seem like solid people, man. So, can you go wheeling with TFL? Cole, I talked to about doing something like that. So, I do, depending on COVID, I don't care what your beliefs are on COVID either, but it has made the world a little sensitive right now. So I've got some plans to fly out to Denver, and I told Tommy that I'd like to meet up with him and definitely want to do some wheeling out there. Cole says, I want to see you wheel the new Nissan. Well, if I can't get a Bronco soon, there could be a new Frontier soon. If I can get close to 10,000 subs next year, that opens up the world of possibilities for the channel to have a couple vehicles sitting in the driveway. So there you go. So whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, you guys know the drill. It does not matter what you drive, because this has been your All-Terrain Nation. We've been talking the Ford Bronco here. What are we? We're out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all. I got a video coming sometime this week.